what we've been watching you watching. It is important to understand how other forms of intelligent life get to know humans. Most have never visited Earth, so where do they get their information from? Every minute of every day, humans broadcast terabytes of information into space. Humans are unaware that a multitude of intelligent alien races receive and decode these messages. Some aliens are entertained by what they receive. Others are outraged at what they see, while most couldn't care less. 99.999% of the signals that humans beam into space are unintentional. It's purely the product of modern communications. The leaking electromagnetic radiation comes from radio and television broadcasts. Indeed, ever since the recent switch to digital transmission, it is even easier for aliens to receive these communications. As Earth has been sending radio and television signals for about 100 years now, an alien that ventures within 100 light years of Earth can pick up the Earth's broadcasts. If they are at a distance of about 70 light years, they'll pick up Hitler's speech at Nuremberg. At around 40 years, they would see the landing on the moon for the first time and hear those famous words, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." When they venture close to Earth, they'll be treated to the joys of sitcoms and dramas and be able to enjoy an episode or two of Friends. Of course, if they have hyperspace capability and tachyon tunneling technologies, then these distances can be crossed and communicated across in mere minutes rather than years of travel. One question you may ask yourself is, how can aliens understand Earth languages? Well, before answering this question, let's look at what happens when there has been a miscommunication that occurs across the reaches of space.
What does it matter? Science has achieved some wonderful things, I know, but I'd far rather be happy than right any day.
And are you?
No. That's where it all falls down, of course.
Pity. Sounded like rather a good lifestyle otherwise.
Attention please, would Slartibat past and the visiting Earth creature please report at once to the reception area?
Now? To meet mice? You want me to meet mice now?
It won't be a great social occasion, I'm afraid.
Repeat at once.
I seem to be having this tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle.
I beg your pardon?
What? Oh, sorry. Fatuous thing to say, really.
I thought so.
It is, of course, well known that careless talk costs lives, but the full scale of the problem is not always appreciated. For instance, at the very moment that Arthur said,
I seem to be having this tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle,
a freak wormhole opened up in the fabric of the space-time continuum and carried his words far back in time across almost infinite reaches of space to a distant galaxy, where strange and warlike beings were poised on the brink of frightful interstellar battle. The two opposing leaders were meeting for the last time, and a dreadful silence fell across the conference table as the commander of the Vlahergs, resplendent in his red, jeweled battle shorts, gazed levelly at the Gugugvant leader squatting opposite him in a cloud of green, sweet-smelling steam, and with a million sleek and horribly beweaponed star cruisers poised to unleash electric death at his single word of command, challenged the vile creature to take back what it had said about his mother. The creature stirred in its sickly, broiling vapor, and at that very moment the words,
I seem to be having this tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle,
drifted across the table. Unfortunately, in the Vlaherg tongue, this was the most dreadful insult imaginable, and there was nothing for it but to fight terrible war. Eventually, of course, after their galaxy had been decimated over a few thousand years, it was realized that the whole thing had been a ghastly mistake, and so the two opposing battle fleets settled their few remaining differences in order to launch a joint attack on our galaxy, now positively identified as the source of the offending remark. For thousands more years, the mighty ships tore across the empty wastes of space and finally dived screaming onto the planet Earth, where, due to a terrible miscalculation of scale, the entire battle fleet was accidentally swallowed by a small dog. Those who study the complex interplay of cause and effect in the history of the universe say that this sort of thing is going on all the time, but that they are powerless to prevent it.
So you can see that it's very important that there are no miscommunications between different intelligent species, otherwise disasters can occur. Now to answer the question as to how aliens can understand Earth languages. There are actually two completely different solutions to the problem of language translation. One, the aliens need to research, design and build incredibly sophisticated computers using unbelievably complex algorithms and decode systems. Or, two, they use a Babel fish. Here's what the Encyclopedia Galactica has to say about the Babel fish.
What is that?
Put this in your ear.
We have unwittingly picked up a couple of hitchhikers.
The fish is translating for you.
The Babel fish is small, yellow, leech-like, and probably the oddest thing in the universe. It feeds on brainwave energy, absorbing all unconscious frequencies and then excreting telepathically a matrix formed from the conscious frequencies and nerve signals picked up from the speech centers of the brain. The practical upshot of which is that if you stick one in your ear, you instantly understand anything said to you in any form of language. The speech you hear decodes the brainwave matrix. Now, it is such a bizarrely improbable coincidence that anything so mind-bogglingly useful could evolve purely by chance that many thinkers have chosen to see it as a final and clinching proof of the non-existence of God. The argument runs something like this. I refuse to prove that I exist, says God, for proof denies faith, and without faith I am nothing. But, says man, the Babel fish is a dead giveaway, isn't it? It proves you exist, and so therefore you don't. QED. Oh dear, says God, I hadn't thought of that, and promptly vanishes in a puff of logic. Oh, that was easy, says man, and for an encore he goes on to prove that black is white, and gets killed on the next zebra crossing. Most leading theologians claim that this argument is a load of dingo's kidneys. But this didn't stop Ulan Kalufin making a small fortune when he used it as the central theme for his best-selling book, Well, That About Wraps It Up for God. Meanwhile, the poor Babel fish, by effectively removing all barriers to communications between different cultures and races, has caused more and bloodier wars than anything else in the history of creation.
Of course, most alien species simply opt to use the Babel fish. It's much, much cheaper, albeit a little more painful. It's important for all new recruits to understand that you are being watched. Not so much you personally, however, that's indeed possible, but aliens are watching Earth TV shows, Earth movies, and even listening to Earth music. The next series of tests seeks to understand how much you know of Earth television shows and movies. You need to know what the aliens have been watching, you watching. This is valuable information you can use next time you strike up a casual conversation with an alien and you need to discuss what's happening to Rachel or the latest episode of CSI. Good luck.